Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of 1 Week to Kill. This time around I bring you a free-to-play game that is technically still in beta, so this is very important to note as you watch this video there. So a lot of things are bound to change, especially the free-to-play model, and all those nuances will need to get refined as this game continues on its development here. But this week we are going to be playing a first-person style objective-based shooter called Dirty Bomb. And basically what it is you pair yourself up in two teams, like up to a larger scale there, 6v6 up to 8v8, in a multi-stage objective as you're witnessing now, where for this case we're going to be moving a vehicle across the map there and until it gets to a deployment zone, and then we have to unload the package and deploy them in the base of a building structure here. But basically what Dirty Bomb is, as I just said, is a first-person based objective style, well, really a multi-phase type of shooter there, where as you progress there, the game moves on into multiple different stages, because these maps are a relatively large size. Where we're starting is basically the midway point of the map, essentially. And this is not going well. I'm trying to work here, damn it, Bushwhacker, get out of my way. But this is a multiple stage shooter there, where you try to push the objective forward, or in the case of Defender here, you're trying to deny them from pushing forward. So we want to try and keep them away from this EV vehicle here for the most part. It's a shooter where, with a little bit sense of a MOBA style there, where each of the different classes there, instead of like actual like mercenaries in this case, they're not like heroes of sorts, but in this case they're called mercenaries. So like they're like soldier for hire essentially there, with their own little twerks and unique little twists here. Like in this case I am playing someone called Skyhammer, who's all about like support fire, with like his ammo packs here he can toss around to kind of resupply people, and he also got like a airstrike option there available to him. And we just took down stuff for us pretty good. Like, observe, I throw that there, I missed the target a little bit, so it may not go as well as I would like, but call down airstrike on the targets. It's like all these abilities, like in a sense of a MOBA, there have like their own little bits of cooldown there. Ammo packs are pretty intuitive and straightforward. They have like almost non-existent cooldown, but like the airstrike has like about a minute cooldown. So, and there's what? Damn it, I'm trying to remember her name there. With her orbital airstrike, which is basically similar to what Skyhammer has here with the airstrike. Only in this case, summons like a controllable ion cannon in a sense. A laser cannon. Okay, there she is, Kira. So, what you do, when you go into a match there, you can choose from 3 different heroes that you have available to you, or on Skyhammer, the 2 in bronze you see at the moment there, are the ones that you start off with when you first play this game. Or is technically a fast-paced medic with a shotgun by default. You can switch it out for like a submachine gun if you so wish. But in this case, these are the 2 choices you have there. You got a very mobile medic, and you got Skyhammer for like a support frontline mid-range fighter essentially.
If they're repairing 20 minutes now. There it is.
And all you, so it's a pretty fast-paced shooter in that case there. It's very reminiscent to how like Doom, Quake, and those kind of shooters there, where you're kind of encouraged to move around a bit with a little bit of tactical play for like these standstill fights around these like this EV here you need to try and stop, where you want to try and position yourself there, but if you're in awkward position you're encouraged to kind of move around as much as you can, because your accuracy is not really punished as much. And I just died immediately there to something. That must have been from a grenade or something, or that frag in there. So yeah, there's that. But what I have so far there, like I said, you suit up your team to kind of fill a balanced role to whatever your playstyle is. In this case, I have my medic for close range fighting and high mobility. I have Skyhammer for the mid-range support role to kind of keep them down. And I have Facility there, which is kind of like the sniper, although I'm really horrible with snipers, so I'm hardly going to use him here. And in this case, I actually want to use Skyhammer.
Get it underneath the thing.
Yeah, I kind of want to get Skyhammer so I could do an airstrike on that EV, because what happened there is they actually managed to repair it, and now we need to damage it back down to kind of disable it. So it goes in this type of tug-of-war style, it's essentially they're trying to repair, and once it repairs, it's up to the defenders to try and damage it to the point where it can't be, where it's disabled again. So in this case, it's down, so we want to keep them away from as much as possible. And how it works when you get shot there, you essentially you essentially shoot the target down as normal. There, they have a little bit. Let me rephrase that. Damn it! All the targets a little bit of bullet spongy in the sense if you're just fighting a 1v1 there, you're not going to instantly kill anyone by yourself unless you're in with a shotgun or sniper rifle. And even then, shotgun you'll have to be able to finish them off with like a melee weapon in most cases. They have depending on the classes there, you have a lot more health you have to work with there. And I'm taking hits from somewhere, so this is hard to concentrate in a fast-paced game, I gotta admit. So they got us pinned down there, but they are not doing very well at like grabbing the points. Like, right now I'm getting helped up here, but if you pay attention to how Aura was going before, I'm doing horrible at this game so far. Let me just get my senses together there for Shy. Like I said, you could choose between 3 classes here. We have like a 10-minute timer, about half it's gone right now. And when you respawn, it's done in waves, essentially, which is the timer right next to... Between right next to the top... Was it the clock on the top left there? That's when the waves respawn. They're like every 20-30 seconds, essentially. And we got grenades coming down on us, so gotta be careful of that. And let's see. Let's try and take down that EV there with an airstrike. Ah, damn it. It was underneath the bridge. So, airstrike didn't happen at all. So try and damage this up a little bit. And when they're down, you have the option to kind of finish them off with either a melee attack or just shoot them if you think you can't get in close enough. And that keeps them from getting res, essentially. Revived from a medic or even from a teammate. And there, that was a beautiful airstrike. I killed the person behind there as well. Oh, I'm out of ammo, damn it. That was an awkward time to run ammo. And I'm the guy who has like the supply pack too, so that's not bode well for me. And when you die there, you get a little visual sense of where I was shot, because that's my corpse right there, and you can see where the shot came from. You don't technically get an actual kill cam, which is a little unfortunate there, because that would be a little bit more helpful to kind of learn how you're dying there in a sense. But since this is a fast-paced game, expect to die a lot in a sense, especially if you're trying to push these objectives like here. Because I'm going to need to get up there right now, because no one else is actually doing it. And we just took out Rhino, which is, he's pretty distinguishable with his bulky armor and that, so he's pretty damn durable. So I'm going to try switching Ore there just to talk a little bit more about the revive mechanics, and at least the medic. Because Ore here, there's several different types of medics with their own different way of healing people. In this case, Aura has like a little health station she could throw in a fixed point on the ground, and this is really good for like a trench fighting there. So I can leave it on the ground, it'll just heal people over time. There, perfect. And there's the melee effect in action. You instantly kill them if they're knocked down in that sense, so they cannot be revived at all. And I got flanked again. They are really flanking hard this position. So we got 3 minutes left to try and keep them off the objective, and that little progress bar you see up there essentially indicates how close it is to reaching its objective point. So we have 3 minutes to keep it from the rest of the way. It's a very fast-paced game there, and as it progresses, you notice the spawn points kind of like push us back there, as well as theirs push forward. So you can't. Your travel time is, you don't get really much of a defender's advantage there. If you were to kind of, if the EV was getting pushed forward, you actually will. It does bounce back out in a sense there through checkpoints essentially.
Sucrose has killed me with headshot every single time for 2 matches.
But let's see.
Every time I come across that person, that's done.
I thought I'd turn off the voice chat, but of course it seems to still be working there. So how do I turn that off? Okay, if it'll let me. Let me see, oh, it won't even let me turn them off. Let me just fix this quickly here. Thank you. I thought I'd turn it off there, so that caught me completely off guard. This is clearly a professional cast there, I gotta say. We're doing it live. But otherwise, we have 15 seconds actually, or no, 2 minutes to kind of keep him off this point. This was a bad position there. I was hoping to flank him. I'm going to have to switch back the Skyhammer for the Arty Strike. I'm going to have to try because my medic is not really helping here with the shotgun, unfortunately. That's a little bit of inconvenience. She's good at flanking there, and where she traditionally drops like a health pack to kind of like for support any fixed positions or standstill fights in the front line without having to really be there, essentially. She can revive in a sense if you are in a position where it's really awkward and you can't actually, and I almost got it too, that's a shame. And I really need to stay back for this just so I can have the artillery strike ready, because it's really important to make sure to do not repair that. Because while it will only push forward if there's a player nearby it, but if they repair it all, it'll be very unlikely to destroy it or disable it again. And if you're noticing there, you actually get like a wall jumping feature as well. In the case where, god damn it. Okay, I got a lot of damage in there and I actually disabled the EV. I may have just saved us right there. We got 40 seconds. We have 40 seconds. This is going to be down to the wire for the first phase if we can do this. Although, we need to... Whoa, that was really damn close. So what I'm going to do is just keep... Oh, that was beautiful. Got both of them there, but I got knocked down in the process. We got 30 seconds. I'm going to talk a little bit more of this once I finish up here. Okay, I think they got it, unfortunately, so... Yeah, they got the checkpoint. We barely had it. But now we move on to this next phase of the game, essentially, where there are technically 2 or 3 different phases to each of the maps. In this case, now that the EV, the vehicle made to its objective, it opens up like 2 EMP charges. And they have to move it to this little point here. So our spawn point got pushed back tremendously in the process, and that we can expect them to push through these 2 little paths here, essentially. There's a lot of different paths there, and even though it's a single map, it does progress quite significantly there due to different objectives, and you get like a dramatic feel there. It can be a bit overwhelming at first, trying to understand the map, but once you get a couple games in, because there's only like 5 maps available, so even though these maps are kind of daunting, you will be able to learn these relatively quickly just because there's not a large number of them. There, and I just saved your butt, I think. No, I didn't actually. And I would like to res you, but it would take a long time, so I'm going to put this pack back there. And this is what happens when you're not the medic. And of course, the ion cannon is not included in that little feature, I'll have to point out. But if you're not a medic, you do not have the ability to instantly revive people. In fact, when you're there, if you're not under fire, under pressure, you can hold the charge of your defibrillator to kind of revive them, give them increased health essentially there. I don't think it'll be possible to demonstrate it too much here without someone being knocked down. But we will see how it goes if someone does get knocked down. And, of course, I should have revived them, but when you're under fire by another person, it's kind of hard to make that decision. Of course, I had low health too. And of course, being a shotgun is probably the worst thing I can do as well. Okay, they actually delivered the first objective. We have 2 minutes to kind of get this done. There's the health station I mentioned, and with all abilities, including the health pack, you can pick up and it'll greatly reduce the cooldown there, whereas normally you would have a cooldown if I were to drop it down, so if you are in a moving fight, you won't get punished for that. It won't completely reset there, but it'll allow you to deploy it at will. And it's going to be hard to kind of revive with Rhino there. There. No minigun for you, buddy. So it's really good for fixed points in this case here, and we need to stop them from dropping the one more EMP charge, so it's going to be hard to do, because I don't know where everyone is, and I'm trying to demonstrate at the same time. Of course, range is not the best on this melee weapon. That's something I need to learn. Thought I was close enough, but not. Alright, there we go. They just barely managed to hand it in there, but we managed to... We're about to reset? Yeah, we reset, so... Okay, there's the defibrillator, although she had to blow herself up. That's like a trait that Nader has. That's like the grenade launcher. That's Nader right there, one of the characters who can shoot like a grenade launcher, essentially. And of course, as one of the consequences, she has like a grenade, the option to kill herself there whenever she gets knocked down. And like I tried demonstrating there, if you're trying to revive someone there who's knocked down, you can hold the charge to increase the health they get back up with. There. I think we got 30 seconds is all we need, so there's going to be one more push. I'm going to try back up there, Hammer. Although the health pack's kind of in the wrong spot, so it doesn't work out well. Not this time, buddy. And of course, moving's not a good idea. Oh, it's not even letting me just get rid of it. So, I think we won, thankfully. Just barely. Ooh, that was a close game. It dragged on quite a bit there, but that is basically how a map can work out there. There was 2 cases where we almost lost. We almost won it on the first phase there, and we just barely lost it on the second phase. That was down to the wire. And a lot of times you can get matches like that if the groups are evenly matched in this case, but there are some cases where you can have like stomps there just because players don't know what they're doing, and like low level players versus high level players that are more experienced essentially. But that's pretty much quick match in general, where you just quickly go to a random server there, which I assume it connects you to a server browser automatically here, because you have the option to like go to your own servers, I think. So quick join probably goes through these ones there, as well as its own, like the game's own servers there essentially that are available. I assume it chooses, because there have been some cases there where I went to a server that there's actually no one else in there. So let's talk a little bit more about like how this game works there. You saw a lot of the gameplay there. Tried my best to explain it to really poorly, I'll just say, so I apologize for that right now. But since it's a free-to-play game, you got several different methods to kind of like get your heroes and kits in that case. Like if you look down here, these are like your daily missions essentially there, where you can get credits by completing specific roles in each of the games that you play. In this case, I got 500 credits, I believe, for getting 4,500 XP for the game mode itself. So that's like returning the bombs, repairing the AV, destroying the AV, or EV rather, and all the other objective-based stuff essentially there. You only get XP towards that. And Operation Skyhammer is essentially, I get that mission for like getting 9,000 of any XP in general while having Skyhammer in my 3-man squad. So I will talk a little bit how that works here. So let's see, does it show? Not necessarily here, so I'll just go to a little, I'll quickly go to a little server to kind of, whoops, that is not what I want. I am getting ahead of myself, so we'll go to an empty server just to kind of show that for a little bit. Just to show how the lobby works and how you pick. Of course, that did not work out. We're doing a good job here, you say, but you go. Normally I just use the quick join here server, but this is the case of the lobby here, where you get the choice to choose between your team, 3 different characters, Aura and Skyhammer, as I mentioned before, the free-to-play characters. So I spent a good amount of time to get them at least geared out with like these kit cards. So how it works here, you have 3 cards to choose from. You pick a hero that you have available to you. Skyhammer and Aura will be available to you, and plus every week or so you'll have the choice of 3 different free-to-play characters as well, which will, since these 2 characters are free-to-play, you will never have a case where you're going to have Aura or Skyhammer free-to-play. So you get to choose from these characters there. They all have their different function roles. Facility is like a sniper with an ability called Heartbeat Sensor, which is like a little bit like you throw a little deployable object on the ground and it'll detect anyone that walks by its radius there periodically. You got Nader, who I mentioned about there, who has a grenade launcher carried with her there, as well as the ability to like commit suicide on herself if she does get knocked down, to kind of kill people around you. So she's encouraged to do a lot of damage and good close quarter fighting with the grenades, as well as kind of basically doing a lot of heavy pushing with that martyrdom if you are kind of suicidal or close range fighter. And we have Bushwhacker, who's an objective specialist, where basically he specializes in repairing, disarming C4, deploying C4, and all those other things. Like you were seeing with the EV they were fighting, if he is within range and he's actually repairing that, he's going to repair the EV a lot quicker than everyone else, as well as being able to deploy and disarm C4s for like certain map objectives as well really quickly. You still will have to defend the C4 for about a minute there before it detonates. So but with Bushwhacker in this case, you do have a turret that you could place in fixed positions in buildings or around corners to kind of automatically shoot down and mow down people that get in his vision range. So it can be a lot of fun with him. And of course, you have several different types of specialists like that. It doesn't highlight for me because I have none of them available to me, but you have several different types of specialists there. So you're not limited to like specific heroes themselves for like different stuff. Like I said, there's different medics as well as different support troops like Skyhammer with the artillery strike, ion cannon so you have a lot of variety. They all have their like specials. They all have their strengths and weaknesses essentially. Like Aura, she's very high mobility, but she's also one of the weakest characters in the game with like
Aura's
actually can we take
hell, it ain't no game. Serious business.
Yeah, she has like 80 health there. Let's see. Let me just take a look at the barracks so I don't have to listen to that in the background too much, but that doesn't help there. So she has 80 health, 470 speed, which is like her mobility there. Whereas opposed to like Sawbones, he has more health and he has 410 movement. So they all have their strengths and ability there. Where Sawbones is more front range fighter or frontline fighter there. He has like health packs to like give you a massive boost of health if you throw it to people that are like who have like high health pools, like Fragger and Rhino, which is one of the characters we saw earlier. Like this guy, he's basically what you would call a tank in this game. He's got like 200 health there, but he's also like the slowest character in the game essentially. So Sawbones combined with anyone with like good health pools, essentially you boost them back up really quickly, whereas opposed because like it says large health pack, so it gives you a large boost of health there, but you have to throw it on the players, as opposed to Aura, which is like a little health station you throw on the ground. It just heals anyone around it. And then you have Phoenix, who has like an AoE heal of sorts, as well as other abilities there, self-revive, and he has a defibrillator just like Aura. And Sparks, on the other hand, who's more of a ranged support medic, because she has actually a revive gun instead of like an actual defibrillator to kind of revive people, and it works in a lot of the same sense from what I understand. And she has health packs to heal people, but it's not as potent as like Sawbones, and like I said, you have to throw it around, kind of like how Skyhammer's ammo packs were, if you recall. And then you got the same for like the fire support. Like Artie has like an artillery strike instead of an airstrike. We got Kira, who is shooting an ion laser we saw earlier. And then we have a bunch of different rules here. We got snipers, we have utility units, we got the specialists. Like Proxy here is just like Bushwhacker and Objective Specialist, but instead of a turret, she has proximity mines with a shotgun. So a lot more mobile, a lot more aggressive, but same like specialist utility to her to repair EVs or to like disarm, deploy mines. So, and so far we have only two really high durability characters. We got Fragger, who's a frontline fighter, 160 health pool, and Rhino, which you already saw, who has a minigun, a lot slower, but he has a minigun and a lot of health, and of course hard to bring down. And then we got a bunch of other stuff there. Like I showed the snipers, we got Phantom, who's actually an assassin character. He actually has a sword there, and he has like a pseudo cloak there that allows him to roam around the battlefield. So basically, you got four different roles there. You got like your backline support characters and snipers. You got your medics. You got your specialists, and you got your support characters here. Well, I guess Facility fits in that same role as like Skyhammer, that essentially, just without the orbital strike. And then you have your frontline fighters here, like Fragger and Rhino at the moment. And how you go about getting all these characters here? Well, as you saw there, you have a bunch. You can pay credits to pay for them there. These credits are most of these mercs are relatively expensive. It seems like almost every single one of them is like 50,000 credits there. There are a few that are cheaper. Let me see if I can find one. I think there's only like 2 or 3 though that are like 30,000 there. So I'll talk a little bit about how quickly you get credits in a moment. But I'm trying to quickly browse. We got 2 that are cheaper. We have Facility, that's also 30k, so we have 3 proxy, so there's about 4 of them that are essentially only 30,000. Everyone else is 50,000 there, so you don't have a lot of variety in the choices of like how expensive mercs are to get. So if pretty much a consistent theme, so you gotta make sure you know which hero you want there before you buy them there essentially. And as far as kitting out your characters in a sense, let's see. Okay, you have these loadout cards essentially as well. Alright, let's talk about the loadout cards again there. So basically you have several different classes of like tier cards here essentially. So when you pick a character, you start off with like a plain blank one here, which has no traits to him on the side here. You got one for every single character automatically there, so you can kit them out, which are restricted to specific types of weapon, like Skyhammer, or for example, only has its M4 to utilize there essentially, if you were to pick that. Whereas everyone else, yeah, everyone has like their own singular type of gun that they have to use. They still got their special abilities, but they don't have like any traits and they don't have any flexibility. You can't choose your weapons in that case. But once you start getting access to like the, what is it? These are the lead cards there. You get access to like different types of loadouts. So actually, I'll look at the store because that'll be a little bit easier to demonstrate. Because you can actually buy these loadouts there, essentially. So let me go to Aura, who I got a kit for. So Aura, you have a, let's see, you have a grand total of 9 cards here. You have 3 different weapons to choose from. The shotgun, the Howland's 880, which I've been using there. And you have a bunch of different traits to them there to kind of like augment towards a different kind of play styles or benefits you want here. Like, let's see, which one is it that I took? I think I took, well, these are all the ones to buy there, so it doesn't really show which ones I had in that case. So you have 3 different weapons. I'm pretty certain all of them have like 3 different weapons to choose from. This submachine gun, the Bizlock, and then you have a different kind of like sawed-off shotgun there, essentially with like a forward handle for like closer range fighting there, but the stats are generally the same if you were to look at them. It shows all the stats of them right here. You don't have much of an option actually to try them out firsthand for actually buying them, unless you happen to win them through a briefcase, the different type of weapons. So, and as you get these different ranks of cards, you get 3 different traits. In this case, Drilled for like faster reload time, Quick Eye for increased movement speeds when you're using your Zoom, which may not be the best idea for like a shotgun per se, and increased damage to your melee weapon if you want to use that to kind of finish off people. And you also get different kinds of pistols and melee weapons as well, because we have a heavy kind of bat called a cricket bat there. We have different types of knives. All these knives are generally the same for all different characters. You just get different variations for like each of the loadouts. Like, let's see, Bushwhacker here, he has different types of submachine guns of different variety, as well as the Bizlock and a couple other traits. And he gets a bunch of abilities that kind of work with his abilities in this case. So let's see, increase health to his turret essentially in that case there, as well as some other traits as well. If some of them have like the ability to kind of like mounted machine guns, like the EV has a mounted machine gun you can hop on top of, as well as others deployed around the map. So you can use those to kind of increase how long you can fire it in rapid succession essentially there. You only have this one type of card there, which unlocks all the different perks and your variety of weapons there. But there are several different tiers there, which is kind of a little bit unfortunate because you don't have access to lower tiers to kind of like get much cheaper different bundles that you can get access to. Because if I were to look at my cases here, these are where you get your random loot essentially there. You get these periodically as you play there, but as you can see, there's 6 different tiers. Lead is where you get 1 trait of those little passive abilities as you saw. Iron is where you get 2 of them. Bronze is where you get 3 of them. And those are the only ones that you can buy there. Of course, only 3% chance, so it's not likely you can get yourself a bronze card in general. Not to mention it varies based on what merc you get it for, so it is very random in that case. Silver, gold, and cobalt are strictly cosmetic, which it has an asterisk there. It doesn't actually boost your stats further, it just makes you have a little bit more bling. So this is how the case works there. It just randomly slides you through all the different cards there. We could have got ourselves a cobalt, little red eye, and we got ourselves a a lead skyhammer, which is basically the lowest tier there. We get ourselves a set of weapon there. In this case, we still got the M4, looks like. So no new weapon there to utilize, and you get one stat there, which is just a chopper. But there are things you can do about that regardless. So if I look at my loadouts there, you have an option called trade up.
Or is the name.
So what you can do
Hell, it ain't
here,
no game. Serious business.
you can pick a character you want to trade up to, pretty much anyone all. But in this case, I think I want to get Proxy. So let's see, I'll pick Proxy there. I pick what rarity I want. I think I'm gonna have to get an iron card though, since I have mostly a bunch of lead. So we're gonna do that there. And what this does, you could trade up 3 of your basic lead cards, which I got a good handful of. So you can just drag them over there, or autofill it. You get a small transaction fee, unfortunately, and it does build up based on the higher quality there. Like I believe bronze will be 1,000 credits there. So if for each match, I've been getting about 100 to 200 credits a game there. That's not including the fact that the daily missions will vary from around 500 to 1,000 credits if you complete them. And then there's also another 500 you get for your first game, and then another 500 for your first win of the day. Both those are reset daily. So if I were to trade it up there, it'll give me an iron card, but it is completely random. Like this could be very useful if you're a very aggressive type of character. With flanking, you take no fall damage when landing, so that could be useful for like heavy flanking maneuvers there if you're that kind of character, especially with a shotgun. And what's this one? Allows you to reload while sprinting. That's actually a really good card, or at least really good passes that synergize well with each other, I feel. Like I said, that kind of forces a certain kind of, it's not really forces you a certain kind of playstyle, but if you don't utilize these properly with like high mobility and flanking, essentially you're probably better off just sticking with a lead card or some lower quality card, especially if it gives you a better weapon. So it is randomized in that case. You can only control what kind of bronze card you want there. And actually I'm going to try for a bronze card because I think I'm able to do that, and I could have done that a little bit faster. So let's see.
Aura, the medic, yada yada, heals the L, shoots the
Let's
health.
see. Who do I want to pick? I'll actually do a bronze for Red Eye there, because I think I might get him eventually. Hopefully I have enough iron cards. Well, only if I want to get rid of my proxy cards. So maybe I don't want to do that, because I thought I had more. So let me try this again, and we'll see if we had better luck with proxy. So we're going to get ourselves a bronze card. We're going to use these 3 cards. Oh, Facility's using it, so that actually does not work. That does not work well for me. But essentially, it'll function the same way. The transaction cost is 1,000 there. So
you even go near my mines, and it's good night.
If we were to go higher up, it actually costs 4 cards, 2,000 credits, and yeah, all that afterwards. It's just more bling. So that's basically how it works in game there. Like I said, these daily matches, these are, well, they're not actually daily. These actually refresh every 3 hours there. So if you have a lot of time to kill, you can get a lot of credits in like a single day there. But if you're limited on time, you're gonna see yourself gain like about, for me it's been about 3,000 to 4,000 credits in like an hour and a half, hour roughly, depending on what kind of missions you have available to you. But if you have a little bit more time to do these missions multiple times, you can build up quite a bit over a single day, especially if you're like a weekend warrior, I guess, where you have a lot of time to kill on the weekends. But if you only got like an hour to kill, it'll be a little bit of a slow grind. And this is the store itself there. You got the usual like bundles in that there. Like in this case, you get 3 heroes. You get like these higher quality cases, which I guess gives you a much higher chance for like higher quality cosmetic stuff there, maybe guaranteed bronzes, I'm not sure. You can buy your characters here, like they range from either, these are Canadian dollars, mind you, so this, I don't know what the transaction value is, or the difference is between US or even EU. But it varies between $11 and like $6.50 there, essentially, for all the different characters. So you have that. You can buy your own cases there. Like these cases here, like only 1,000 credits if you so wish to just straight up buy them. If you have nothing else, no mercs that you want to get or anything like that. and where, and like I said, you could buy a load of cards. Let's see, boosters, so that costs you actual money. And there were bundles here. Yeah, these bundles, you can get all the bronze cards if you so wish, but they are like 20 bucks or 100,000 credits to get all these bronze cards. So if you really are in love with a character, there's your option there. Although that 20 bucks for a bunch of bronze cards, let's see, only like 9 bronze cards. So personally for me, that seems a little bit steep. Even 100,000 credits seems steep, but it is cheaper than buying them individually, at least there, if you really had the saved up creds for it. But that's like, for most heroes or mercs even, I keep calling them heroes, you're looking at 150,000 creds there if you want to buy a brand new hero as well as get all the bronze cards. So that will take a little bit of grinding, unfortunately, in that case there. The gameplay is a lot of fun though. It is fast paced, it is really to my liking, a little bit of nostalgia from playing Doom and Quake back in my youth, so I can appreciate that, but a little bit more bullet spongy in a sense. And how, let's see, I spent about 12 hours in this game here. I had enough credits to buy both the bronze cards there for Aura and Skyhammer, and those were about 17,500, so I basically made a little bit under 50,000 right now. So in 12 hours roughly of gameplay, I have not made enough to even get like the 50k I need to get like a brand new merc, and that's assuming I don't have any loadout cards, so I would be pretty much limited to what my basic cards are, in excluding the cases there where I have a chance to get something useful, but that would be completely random. So I spent most of my credits getting Skyhammer and Aura kit out to something I think would work for him there, and it's been working out well to my liking. But otherwise, at this point, it's going to be a pretty much slow grind if you're like going to play this game for free, so it really comes down if you like the play style and such. So I'll get back to that quickly there just to do our final discussions and have one final look at the gameplay there. And when you first start up the game there, you get a simple tutorial with both Skyhammer and Aura, but as you level up, there will only be 2 increment periods where you get a bunch of creds, so you'll get like 12,000 creds for reaching level 2, and another 12,000 I think for reaching level 4, levels 3. So that's where a big surplus of your creds are going to come in at the start, but still not going to be enough to like get an extra merc on its own. So you might be tempted to get that for your bronze card quickly. So
let's do this.
We will set off on one final run here. Hopefully I did not butcher this game too much there, although probably did, unfortunately, because that was not my best run there, unfortunately. We still got a lot of kinks to work out, unfortunately, especially when fast-paced game like this where you have a lot of mobility and really got to be paying attention to what you're doing. But this is Dirty Bomb in a nutshell there. It's a nice fast-paced shooter. I've been playing it quite a bit. I've been enjoying it there. I was hoping to get a little bit more time into the game there, but I had internet issues over the past few days, unfortunately. So it did hinder the amount of gameplay I could have got in. So hope you enjoyed yourself there, folks. Thank you for watching.